Good afternoon, everyone. So we are going to start botany class now. Uh, as you know, just now you completed 10th standard, and this 11th and 12th, when it comes to the NEET, so there is a separation between botany and zoology. Uh, like in botany, there will be a 45 questions and zoology of 45 questions. So total 31 chapters are there from 11th and 12th. So in 11th, especially when it comes to that, so botany it will be dealing with the basics of biology and plant science related some chapters are there. So in that, so I am going to start now with the basic chapter, which is we call it as cell. So this is the basic we will be telling. So why we will be telling cell as a basic unit? So uh, because we'll see that. So this chapter got this much of importance here. So here year wise analysis I have made on the cell chapter. So you can see here on 2025 last year NEET exam they asked 5 questions and 4 questions before that. So we should not leave any chapter by chance that, so by neglecting that it is a basic chapter, it won't require that much of attention. But here you can see the clear picture of the year-wise analysis of class 11 here, and especially of this chapter. So year-wise, you can see there is a minimum 2 questions and maximum 5 questions has been asked. So this shows that it has got a lot of importance. And next, it is a topic wise analysis. Now you may not understand this topic wise analysis. After completing some of the chapters, some concepts we will get to know. So how much importance has it has topic wise analysis of. So this is the number of questions, like 6 questions asked from this topic, and that is from only cell theory and overview of the some one from one page. 6 questions has been asked. If you see the last 10-year analysis, and next in prokaryotic cell you can see that there are 20 questions has been asked from last 10 years. Last 10-year analysis, you can see that 20 questions asked from this concept, and from this concept remaining 48 questions has been asked. So this is the topic wise analysis. Now coming to the cell. So here when we discuss about the cell here, so cell we call it as basic unit, that is the structural and fundamental unit of life we say. You all know, you might be knowing about this one because in 10th standard we will be seeing all this definition, not only 10th, even in 8th standard also we will be seeing. So what is cell and what are the components of it? There we will be seeing that the cell is defined as, that is structural and functional unit of life. So you might be knowing this definition as well as structural and functional unit of life. But why do we call this as structural and functional unit of life? So if you take an example of building, so where bricks will be there. So bricks are the structural unit we say, because many bricks one by one. So that is the main unit. So you can make a complete building by using a bricks or stones there. So that is the basic unit for a building. So like that, to make our whole body like this, so the cell is the basic unit of life we say that. So that is a structural unit. Structural in the sense it is making a framework for an complete organism there. So here structural in the sense it is making a structure there, it is which is giving some shape and structure to that any organism. So that's why we are calling it as structural unit of life. When it comes to functional unit of life means, so how we can relate to the daily life examples, like don't think it as a conceptual, or we need to usualize that cell is like this, that and all. So you just we can link to the real own life examples, you can link to yourself. So just take I will try to connect with the basics of your high school topics and to this cell chapter. See, in 10th standard physiology topics are there, like nutrition in animals. So in that we will be seeing about the digestive system there. So in the digestive system, what we will be learning? So the food we eat, it goes through the mouth. So first initially digestion starts from the mouth. So then, so I will be explaining here. So food initially the digestion, it starts from the digestion and it enters the food pipe there or esophagus. Next it reaches to the stomach there. So after reaching the stomach, so it passes to the small intestine where many folds will be there. Long small intestine here, and next it is connected to the large intestine. So it is connected to the large intestine like that. So when the food reaches here, small intestine, so the food will be traveling from mouth to the stomach and it reaches to the small intestine here. So if you see the small intestine, you might have seen in nutrition in animals chapter, the food absorption, it takes place through small intestine. The main food absorption, digestion, it is taking place through here in stomach as well as all like in small intestine. After reaching stomach, or it starts from there, digesting in the sense if you are eating any like chapati, roti or idli, so the digestion starts from the mouth itself. So complex structure, it has to break it down into simple substances there. So now in small intestine what happens? See, these small intestines are rich with this villi structure, the finger-like projections, what we will call it as villi. And these villi are completely enriched with the capillaries like this. So capillaries will be there. Through where the absorption of food will be taking place. Means, see, it is the internal structure of small intestine. So this part, if you see the small intestine, see, small intestine, it will be like a tubular structure. When you cut this one, it is circular. So in this circular, so within that, you will be seeing the lumen here. See this, in this part, you will be seeing this villi, the finger-like projections. And if you see that longitudinal section of that, you will get this one, villi structure. And here the food will be lying here within this, the food will be there in this part, in this, see, when you cut this one, inside of that the food will be there. So that food, it will be present here. So then the food absorption will be taking place. So now these capillaries which are present in the villi, they will end up in a blood vessel here. So there will be a large blood vessel will be there. So compared to the capillaries, it is somewhat thick in diameter. So larger diameter it will be having. So this food will be secreted in this vessel, blood vessel. So now if I am writing with this, like I am holding the pen and my cells which are presented in this part. So human body, it is completely made up of trillion number of cells, you might have heard. Here in this hand, this finger is also having some cells, and these cells require energy. These cells require energy. If I want to write, I want to hold like this, it requires some energy there. And this energy, so now in the morning I had a breakfast and the food has supplied, so it has reached here and it went in the small intestine, so the food will be absorbed. Now the food will be reached to this blood vessels. So my part of this fingertip requires energy in the sense the food will reach to that part. So the cell which is present, so the cell, I am taking it as a cell. So the food when it reaches here, so the food when it reaches to the cell, so now I am adding food here. Whether food is the energy source? No. You just think food is not an energy source. Food is a fuel for our body. So the energy, how do we get? How do we get the energy? See, now food I released in the cell. The cell has required food, so it has reached there. And it is about the digestion. Now connect to the respiration. So now I am inhaling air. Atmospheric air is there. It is a mixture of all gases. When I inhale in the lungs, so in the lungs what happens? So in the lungs, the oxygen has been delivered along with the other gases. So this oxygen is there. It will also, there will be a small goby like structure. Goby means that you might be knowing. No? So here within this lungs, you will be seeing this small goby like structure. That it will be like this. That we call it as alveoli, this one. So it is also rich with the blood vessels there. So now in this oxygen is released. So oxygen is released. So this part of this, it is having a alveoli here. This we call it as alveoli. And this one is villi here. Through villi, the food absorption is taking place, and through alveoli, the oxygen has been released in the vessel. So now this oxygen is also reaches to this food. So this part of the cell. Now when food combines with the oxygen, so when food combines with the oxygen, then the combustion takes place. When the combustion takes place, food plus oxygen, the energy forms there. So this is how I will be getting energy. So now when food reacts with this oxygen, I will be getting ATPs. ATPs are nothing but that is the energy. So this, all the functions, see, digestion is also connected to the cell here. Each part of our body, all the cell requires energy, and the food is reaching to the all part of our cells. So if I am now walking, I am showing a locomotion here, movement here. So if I am showing movements, so that movement is due to the my legs are getting the food from these blood vessels. They will be delivering the food which is required there, and the oxygen through inhale and exhale. What I am doing, that through the oxygen, that through that blood vessel, oxygen are reaching to the all the muscle cells are which are present in legs there, and now it has got both food and oxygen there. So the energy is produced there. The cell has the which are present in that, the energy is required and which is being produced there, which is supplied to that. So now you can see why we are calling it as a cell, as a structural and fundamental functional unit of life. So it is a fundamental, structural and functional. Structure because all our body, the whole body, it is completely made up of a trillion number of cells. So there are number of cells are there, different size and different shapes of cells are there, and along with that it is having many different functions. See, digestion is also connected here. So digestion is also connected to the cell. Respiration is also connected to the cell. And after that, some waste product will be released along with this CO2. So it is a waste, no? Means which is removal of the waste product. That is nothing but related to the excretion there. So all these processes you can link with this cell here. So this is what we are calling it as functional unit of life here. So why we are calling it as functional unit? Because it has all the functions of our body, it is connected to the cell here. So one other way it will be connected to the cell there. So that's why we say that cell is the structural and functional unit of life. You can take any, taking from the microscopic organism also, which is of only our whole organism is made up of only one cell. That is a microscopic organism, we call it as, which is made up of only one cell. Bacteria, take example of bacteria, only one cell it is made up of. And You can take our cells. As humans, we are made up of million, billion of cells, trillion of cells. So whether it is a single one cell organism or many cells organism, it will be a structural and functional unit of life. So based on the presence of number of cells, there are two types of organisms we will be seeing, that is unicellular organisms, and if many cells are present, that we call it as multicellular organisms. If you see, the unicellular organisms means where single cell will be making a life there. So all these functions which will be taking place within the single cell, so there it will be receiving the food, everything it is taking place within the cell there. So that's why it is a unicellular organism in the sense. So all the functions and the structure there is, it is of only one cell is there. It is independent living cell or independent living organism there, which is making a life to a single. So it is made up of a single cell there. Here multi means many, so we know that. So many cells it is made up of. So here in many cells, like you can take higher plants or animals as example for this. Whereas unicellular organism, independent living organisms, like only single cell, only one cell will be acting as a one life there, one organism there. So that is example for, you can take as a bacteria there. So there unicellular and multicellular are there, and all the functions are performed within the single cell in case of unicellular. And if you see the multicellular organism, the different functions are made from different cells. See, nerve cell is there, you might be knowing, neurons, so which are connected to the sending and receiving the signals. That is a nerve cell, it has a different function there. And if you take RBC cells, so it has a function of transporting the oxygen and carbon dioxide there. So different functions, different cells will be performing there. So even in plants also it applies same. But in case of unicellular organism, all the functions will be done and it will be taken place within the single cell here. So it will be takes place within the single cell here. And it is about the cell. Next we will be seeing that cell theory, which is related to that. Oh, that's what given in your book also, in your material or in your NCERT book, that's what they have given. So you can see there, all organisms are composed of cells, that is true. So the all organisms taking from the unicellular or multicellular, bacteria, plant, animal. So all the cells, it is all the organisms are made up of cells, and it is a fundamental structural and functional unit of life. So it is the basic structural and functional unit of life. And there is one more statement saying that anything less than a complete structure of a cell does not endure independent living. So that is sure, no? That is true also. So if upon this pen there is some virus now, so virus, they don't have proper cellular structure, so that's why we cannot call virus as an organism if it is present on the object. So it is a non-living thing now. It is like a crystal of salt. So a salt powder will be there, no? Like a small amorphous crystal like structure. So like that the virus will be there. Now if I am touching and if I am inhaling that, like now it become live, because virus, they don't have a proper cell structure and it is not a cellular organism. That we will learn in the biological classification chapter there. So there they say that viruses are non-cellular or acellular organism, we say that. So the here anything less than a complete structure of cell, if it won't have a cell, then we don't call it as a organism there. And it has to be living. So if you want to call a organism as an independent living, then it should contain at least a minimum one cell should be there, and where all the functions should be taking place within a cell, then we can say that surely that it is an living organism. So anything less than a cell, we don't call it as a living organism there. Next is, we will be seeing some related to the cell, discovery of the cell. So who are the scientists, and how many are involved in this discovery of the cell and all, we will be seeing that. So discovery of the cell, before this also you might have learned. So just recall that who discovered the cell. So starting, who discovered the cell? For your instance, I will give one example. So cells, for him, cells are observed like this. In some books, in CBSE books, they have given this structure, and they have given analogy of honeycomb. Honeycomb structure, it will be having like this. They have this. So I hope you might be knowing about this. So these structures which looks like this, it has walls like this. So it is having walls, no? These are walls. So and the scientist who discovered the cell is, his name is Robert Hooke. Robert Hooke is the scientist who discovered the cell, that but it was a dead cells. It was a dead cells there. And he observed that in a cork in the sense the bark of the tree, which where the dead cells will be there. So when he observed under the microscope, he found a small room like structure, a small room like this, a small room in a four walls, how it will be like that. A small rooms has been observed under the microscope, and in fact the name cell itself is nothing but it is a small room. It is nothing but a small room. He named it as the cells because it appears to be like a small rooms in a microscope. That's why he named it as a cell now. So he observed in dead cells. There comes another scientist, Anton von Leeuwenhoek. Leeuwenhoek. So he observed a living cell after discovering of the microscope. So he observed a living cell there. And related to this, there are many scientists who worked on the cell, and with respect to the cell and all, so the functions of it, the structure of it. Many scientists will be coming across throughout the chapter. So here in this, Anton von Leeuwenhoek, he observed the living cell there. And one more thing is, another scientist comes here, Robert Brown, who observed nucleus of the cell. Within a cell there will be a nucleus, so he observed that one. So that is Robert Brown. Another two scientists, they will be coming, but before that we will be discussing who are the scientists who actually worked on the cell and how the cell is. So there comes the scientist name, so Matthew Sleeden. Matthew Sleeden in 1838, who is a German botanist. German botanist in a sense, he belongs to German and he is a plant scientist there, botanist. So he said that the statement which was given by Sleeden is, so plants are made up of cells and different kind of tissues. So what he says is, as a botanist, he works on the plant cells there. When he observed in a plant cell, like studying many different plants varieties under the microscope, then he concluded that plants are made up of, or plants are composed of cells and different kind of tissue. Different kind of tissues. Tissues in the sense, there is a group of cells, we call it as tissues. So it is a different kind of tissues it includes. So he said that. And next comes another scientist named Sean. So he is in the 1839. So he is a German zoologist. Here zoologist in the sense, so the one who works on the animal related things. So that is zoologist we call it. So Sean is a scientist in the 1839. He gave a statement that the animal cells are covered with a membrane or an outer layer. So he says that a cell is covering a cell, the cell is covered with some membrane there, he says. And now in today's what we are using that as a plant plasma membrane, that is nothing but this outer membrane of any cells there, that is animal cells. So now we are calling it as plasma membrane. The plasma membrane is nothing but the Sleaden Sean, who observed first time in animal cells, and he observed that membrane or outer layer, we are calling it as plasma membrane. And upon this, not only he worked on animal cells, even though being a geologist, he observed the plant cells also. He observed the plant cells also there. So there in plant cells, he will add one more statement to this one, that the plant cells are covered or enveloped with extra membrane or extra layer, he call it as. That is nothing but it is a cell wall. The cell wall is present upon the cell membrane. He says that upon this you can see the cell wall also. So it was given by Schwann there. See, even though he is a geologist, he worked on the plant cells. Don't confuse with this Sleaden and this statement. What he says, Sean, what he says is, plant cells are covered or enveloped with an extra layer or extra membrane that today we know as, that is as a cell wall. So that it was given by that. And after this, he didn't keep quiet there. So again, Sean, he gave an hypothesis there. So he gave an hypothesis. Hypothesis in the sense that is a statement based assumptions. Hypothesis in the sense that is a statement based assumption. So especially in science, there are many words you will be coming across, like hypothesis, theory, discovery, inventory, like that. All different words has a different meanings there. They are not a similar word. So here hypothesis in the sense it is just an assumption. By seeing all this observation, he assumed that so all these organisms, all organisms are composed of cells and products of cells. He gave this statement, means this, it is an assumption. If I am seeing something, like I assume different things like which is imaginary, I make a statement that this is like this. So without visiting America, I will make a statement that America is this. So their geographical condition is this. The animals which are existing, that they are having different features like that. So I am making a statements which are not proved by or accepted by everyone, or not followed by many. So here all organisms are composed of cells and products of cells. He made these statements, especially all organisms in the sense which includes like plants and animals there. Plants or animals are composed of cells and products of cells, he says that. So this is an hypothesis given by Sean. And upon this only one para, there are 8 questions has been asked if you see the PYQ analysis. So in the end of this session, we will be discussing some question answers related to the previous year questions there. So this was a hypothesis given by Sean. Next comes another scientist that named with Robert Virchow. Rudolf Virchow. In year of 1955. So here comes another scientist to add up a statement to this theory. So now it's still a theory now, it is a hypothesis now. Now it has to be converted into a proper theory. Proper theory in the sense where it has some proofs and experimental proofs, practical proofs are there to say that this statement applies there. So Rudolf Virchow in the year of 1955, he modified these statements and gave a modern cell theory. Modern cell theory is different and the hypothesis is different. These statements are different here. So you need to see NCERT line by line. It is a very important thing in a NEET where you wanted to learn in. Along with the remembering or understanding the concept, you need to remember the facts also there. So these are year wise also you need to remember that whom, what he discovered, in which year and what it is composed of and all. So Rudolf Virchow, he gave a statement that so along with this same all organisms, he added this statement along with this statement. He added this statement along with this statement. He added one more statement, that is omnis cellula e cellula. So you might be thinking now which language it is, omnis cellula e cellula. So it is a Latin language where omnis cellula e cellula means, that is, he says that cells are formed, means if you see in this all the statements which is given by Sleeden and Sean there, nowhere we will get that how the cell is formed. Nowhere we will get that how the cell is formed there, but they are just describing it is made up of cells. So here Rudolf Virchow, the scientist, in the year of 1955, he come up with another statement, that is omnis cellula e cellula. Now it has become a modern cell theory. So this is true that all organisms are composed of cells and products of cells. That is a true statement which is given by him, Sean, that hypothesis. Along with that, he added this statement to that cell theory. So this means omnis cellula e cellula means, that is, cells are formed from pre-existing cells. So he added up this statement, which means, see, a cell is there here. So a cell is there. How does this cell is formed? So it is formed from the pre-existing cells, means this it is formed from pre-existing cell. So when it undergoes division, we will get 2 cells, no, like this. So 2 cells we will get. So this cell here, this is the new cell here. This cell, it is came from this one, no, pre-existed. Pre-existed in the sense which has been already there. So the cell which is already been there, so from there I am getting new cells. So Rudolf Virchow, this scientist, he gave a proper modern cell theory that all the living organisms are made up of cells and the products of cells. So all the living organisms, it is made up of cells and the products of cells. Products of cells in the sense, like some cells are divided, have different functions, no? So some tissues are there like that. So omnicellula, cellula, the another statement meaning is cells are formed from pre-existing cells, which was there earlier. From that the new cells are formed. So that's why this it was given with some modern touch up by Rudolf Virchow. So from these statements from these scientists, only 8 questions has been asked. If you check the past 10-year POQ with NEET means. So let us discuss some question answers related to this cell theory itself. So here, cell was discovered by. What is the answer for it? Cell was discovered by. There are 4 scientists are there: Sean, Leeuwenhoek, and Schleiden, and Robert Hooke. What will be the answer for this one? So this out of 4, option B, that is Robert Hooke. Robert Hooke is the one who discovered the cell first time. And next, we'll see the next question now. Cell wall is unique characteristic of a plant cell and concluded by. So now you need to tell me that. So out of these 4, which is the answer? Cell wall is unique characteristic of a plant cells and concluded by. Who concluded that this plant has cell walls upon that? You need to tell me that. Don't get confused here, because Sean is there, Schleiden is there, Leeuwenhoek and Virchow. You can eliminate easily Leeuwenhoek. He discovered the live cell. Rudolf Virchow, he makes a modern cell theory, not related to the plant cell there. So now left is Sean and Schleiden. So here the answer will be Sean. So that is Matthew Schleiden, the one who gave the cell wall is a unique characteristic, where he observed, when he observed the plant cell, he saw that another layer upon the cell membrane. That is nothing but here it is a Sean, the one who given that. Now if you want, we'll go with the NCERT line also. Here we have another analysis where we can see the cell chapter also. So far what we have learned is this chapter, that is chapter 8, cell, the unit of life. Why we have chosen cell? Because it is the basic thing where we will be seeing it. Upon this only we'll get n number of questions. It has got lot of importance. So in this first paragraph they say that all organisms are made up of cells and composed of cells. They say, in what is a cell? So cell is nothing but they have given unicellular organism also. They have given 2 statements where you can check here. That is independent existence. It is having independent existence. That is nothing but one cell. One cell will be making as a complete independent existence, where all the functions will be taking place within this. That is independent existence, and performing of essential functions of life within the same cell. So anything less than a complete cell, we don't call it as a independent living. So see, listen here, especially when you are studying NEET, so you will be coming across with many different type of questions there. So here if you see, they may ask you questions which of the statements are incorrect. So among the following, you need to select that the incorrect statement from the statements which are given there. So here if they give that anything less than a complete structure can be called as a independent existence of a living, no, because cell does not, that anything less than a cell or a complete cell, we cannot call that as independent living. Example for that, virus you can take. Hence, cell is the fundamental and structural unit, so that we have already discussed. So next comes Matthew Sleedon. Matthew Sleedon. So in the year of 1838, what is that? Plants are composed of different kind of cells and tissues that is in plant. So he said only that plants are composed of different kind of cells and tissue. And next comes, so next comes another scientist, that is 1839, Sean, German zoologist. So he says that he studied in different animal cells and reported that the cells had a thin outer layer, which is today known as the plasma membrane. So he says that the cell is made up of a thin outer layer, and he didn't name it as a plasma membrane. He just said it is a thin outer layer. But today what we are referring is plasma membrane is nothing but it is a first observed by the Sean there. And he also concluded, see here, he also concluded that in his studies, plant tissues or plant cells, the presence of cell wall is a unique characteristic of a plant cell. So where animal cells won't have this cell wall. So the plant cells has extra protection on the cell, that is, it is made up of cell wall. And the plants are composed of cells and products of cells. He has given an hypothesis, that is, plants and animals are composed of cells and products of cells. So that hypothesis was given by Sean. And after this analysis, Sleedon and Sean together formulated a cell theory. So by considering his statement and his statement, they formulated a cell theory. But it was modernized, means it was improved. New cell theory was given by Rudolf Virchow. So formulated cell theory and theory, however, did not explain how new cells are formed. So it was explained by Rudolf Virchow here. So what he says that from cells are formed from pre-existing cells, that is nothing but omnicellula, ecellula. He modified cell theory. So he modified the cell theory or hypothesis of Sleedon and Sean and give a proper structure to this. Give a proper structure, that is, all organisms are composed of cells and products of cells, and all cells arise from the pre-existing cells. So this is about the discovery. So cell theory was modified and given a final shape to this. So all these are asked in PYQs. Cell theory was modified. Who modified the cell theory? Sleedon and Sean? Not, because they made a cell theory. They made cell theory, or they formulated cell theory, but Virchow, that is Rudolf Virchow, he modified new cell theory was given by Rudolf Virchow in the year of 1955. So it was given by Rudolf Virchow. So omnicellula, ecellula, that is, new cells arises from pre-existing cells, statement was given by. Just check that statement. Omnicellula, ecellula is given by whom of the following? Like, which of the following? There are 4 scientists are given. So out of this, you can comment down the answer also in chart section, where we can see that which is the answer of this one. So omnicellula, ecellula, that is, new cells arise from pre-existing cells. Please can you comment on this? Which of the following is who gave this statement? You already know, which is very easy. So let me check this. So it was given by Rudolf Virchow. That is, the cells are formed from new existing cells. That is given by Rodolphe Virchow. Next, we will be seeing. Okay, the cells discovered in thin sections in cork, Robert Hooke were actually observed what? So what they are asking, the structures which he observed in microscope, what he observed, so that they are asking. So the cells discovered in the cork is nothing but a bark of the tree, dead cells will be there, no? That is cork cells. He observed, that is Robert Hooke, where actually, so that is the option here, not a cellulose. The cell walls, no, it is a walls. These are walls. So these are walls there. Then this will be cell wall will be the option here. Okay. Next, it is about the overview of this cell theory. So far, what we have discussed. So we can see these. So far, what we have discussed is what is cell. So the chapter which we have taken is cell, the unit of life, which is chapter 11th standard. You will be seeing the chapter 8, that is cell, the unit of life. So we have taken this chapter. Under this is year wise analysis we have seen. So every year 2 to 5 for 3 4 questions has been asked, because each question carries, you might be knowing, each question carries 5 marks. Here, see, the NEET is of 720 paper, 720 marks. So out of this 720, 180 marks is of biology. So both, it includes botany and zoology. So it includes both botany and zoology, 180 marks. Means 180 marks in the sense, botany they will ask 45 questions, zoology 45 questions. So this, it is 180 marks, includes both 11th and 12th chapters of both botany and zoology, 11th and 12th, 45 questions from here, 45 questions from here. So 90 questions will be asking from there. Okay. So here 180 marks it is of, and in that, see, 5 questions in the sense, 5 into 5 you just multiply, you will get 25 marks from this chapter if you just thorough with the basic here. So this is the topic wise analysis we have seen, and why we are calling it as a cell, as a structural and a functional unit of life, and I have explained that. So why it makes a structure complete like a building, how it will be there, no? So it is making a structure there. Functional because it is involved in all different kind of functions within, so where the cell will be engaged there. So these are the things which we have already discussed. So there are different number of scientists which are involved in discovery of a cell. So cell theory, the cell theory formulated by Schleiden and Schwann. So Schleiden is a German botanist who gave this statement that all the plants are made up of different type of cells and different kind of tissues, and Schwann who gave a statement of that animal cells are covered with a layer or a membrane, that today what we known it as a plasma membrane there. And the plant cells, he also gave another statement that plant cells are covered or enveloped with an extra layer over the thin membrane, that we were calling it as cell wall. And the hypothesis to add on this to this statement, so another scientist Rodolphe Virchow omnis cellula e cellula added that one. So it is the modified cell theory. So here we can say that it is a modified cell theory. So in next class we will be seeing what is an overview of the cell, what it composes of, what it is contains, what is a cell, that we will be discussing in the next class. Okay. Today's class it is enough. Thank you.